I never thought I'd be writing a post like this, but here I am. I'm 30 years old and I've been with my girlfriend Lisa, 28, for 3 years. We both work in the maritime industry, often on the same ships for long trips that last 8 to 11 weeks at a time. It's a challenging lifestyle, but we made it work and even thrived in it together. I've been working on ships since I was 22. It's a family tradition. My dad and grandfather were both sailors. I love the sea and the sense of adventure that comes with the job. Lisa joined the industry a bit later, at 25. We met during her first long voyage, and I kind of took her under my wing, showing her the ropes and helping her adjust to life at sea. We hit it off right away. Lisa was smart, funny, and shared my passion for travel and the ocean. Over time, our friendship turned into something more. Working together and living in close quarters on the ship, we got to know each other really well, really fast. It wasn't always easy. The lack of privacy and the stress of the job could be challenging, but we always found ways to make it work. After a year of dating, we decided to move in together during our time on land. We rented a small apartment near the coast, our little haven between voyages. Life was good. We were saving money, planning for the future, and enjoying our time together both at sea and on land. Last year, we took a big step and bought a house together. It was a fixer-upper, but we were excited about the project. We spent our time off working on the house, making plans, and talking about our future. Marriage was on the horizon, and we even started discussing having kids someday. I always said I wanted to wait until after we were married, and Lisa seemed to agree. Everything was going great, or so I thought. We were assigned to the same ship for an 11-week trip, which was pretty standard for us. The first few days were normal. We fell into our usual routines, working our shifts and spending our free time together or with other crew members. About a week into the trip, I noticed Lisa wasn't feeling well. She was nauseous in the mornings and seemed more tired than usual. A small part of me wondered if she might be pregnant, but when I asked her about it, she brushed it off. She said she probably just ate something that didn't agree with her, or maybe she was coming down with a bug. I believed her. We'd always been careful, after all. The next day, everything fell apart. I finished my shift and went back to our cabin to find Lisa unconscious on the floor. There was blood, and next to her was a pill bottle labeled mifepristone, an abortion pill. I was in shock, but I managed to call for help. The ship's medical team rushed her to the infirmary. I waited outside the infirmary, my mind racing. How could Lisa be pregnant? We always used protection. And why would she get an abortion pill without talking to me first? None of it made sense. When the ship's doctor finally came out, he told me Lisa was stable but had suffered complications from a medical abortion. I felt like I was in a bad dream. This couldn't be happening. Once Lisa was conscious and the doctor said it was okay to talk to her, I went in. She looked pale and weak, and when she saw me, she started crying. I asked her what happened, trying to keep my voice steady. That's when the truth came out. Lisa confessed that she had been sleeping with another crew member during our trips. She said it started as a friendship but turned into something more. She thought she was falling for him and was considering leaving me. But when she got pregnant, she found out he was actually married with 2 kids back home. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. 3 years of trust, gone in an instant. I asked her how long it had been going on. She said it had been happening on and off for about 6 months. 6 months of lies, right under my nose. Lisa said she felt trapped and didn't know what to do when she found out she was pregnant. She decided to have an abortion to try to fix everything and stay with me. She ordered the pills online and had them delivered to our last port stop. She took the first pill in secret, but then panicked and didn't take the second one right away, which led to the complications. I was devastated. The woman I thought I would marry had betrayed me completely. All our plans, our house, our future, it all felt like a lie now. I told Lisa I couldn't be with her anymore. We were done. But here's the kicker, we were stuck on the ship together for almost 10 more weeks. I couldn't just leave due to my job responsibilities. So I had to see her every day, working alongside the woman who broke my heart. The next few weeks were hell. I threw myself into work, changing my shifts around to avoid Lisa as much as possible. I ate at odd hours and spent most of my free time alone in my cabin or in parts of the ship where I knew she wouldn't be. When we did have to interact for work, I kept things coldly professional. Lisa kept trying to talk to me, to explain and apologize, but I shut her down every time. I couldn't bear to hear her voice or her excuses. The sound of her crying through the thin walls of our neighboring cabins kept me up at night. The other crew members quickly realized something was wrong between us. Rumors started flying about why we suddenly weren't together anymore. I didn't want to air our dirty laundry, so I just told people we had broken up and left it at that. But it was awkward and painful being in such close quarters with someone I now wanted nothing to do with. To make matters worse, I'm pretty sure I know which crew member Lisa was sleeping with. He's been avoiding eye contact with me and acting sketchy. Part of me wants to confront him, but I know that would only make the remaining weeks of this trip even more unbearable. I've been having trouble sleeping and I've lost my appetite. Being on a ship with nowhere to escape to makes the heartbreak even worse. I find myself staring out at the ocean for hours, wondering how my life fell apart so quickly. I can't wait for this trip to be over so I can get away from Lisa and start putting my life back together. We have a house and other shared assets to deal with. I'm dreading those conversations, but I know I need to protect myself going forward. I'm not sure what I'm looking for by posting this. Maybe just a place to vent and process my emotions. If anyone has been through something similar or has advice on how to cope when you're stuck in close proximity to someone who betrayed you, I'd appreciate hearing it. This is the lowest point of my life and I'm struggling to see any way forward. How do I get through the rest of this trip without losing my mind? And what do I do once we're back on land? The thought of going back to the house we bought together makes me feel sick. Should I try to buy her out? Sell it? And how do I trust anyone again after this? Any advice would be appreciated. I feel like I'm drowning here and I don't know which way is up anymore. Update 1. It's been about 2 weeks since my last post, and somehow this situation has managed to get even messier. I appreciate all the supportive comments on my original post. Reading them has been one of the few things keeping me sane as I try to navigate this nightmare. These past 2 weeks have been a blur of work shifts, awkward encounters, and sleepless nights. I've been doing my best to avoid Lisa, but on a ship, it's nearly impossible to never cross paths. Every time I see her, it's like ripping open the wound all over again. I've thrown myself into work, volunteering for extra shifts and tasks just to keep busy. My supervisor noticed and pulled me aside to ask if everything was okay. I gave him a vague explanation about personal issues, but I could tell he was concerned about my mental state. I assured him I could still do my job, but I'm worried about the long-term impact this might have on my career. A few days ago, I was in the ship's gym when I overheard 2 other crew members gossiping. They were talking about Lisa and how she was showing already. My heart started racing. I thought the abortion had been successful. Could Lisa still be pregnant? I spent the next day in a daze, trying to work up the courage to confront Lisa. That evening, I finally cornered her in a quiet part of the ship and demanded to know what was going on. Lisa broke down crying again and admitted that she had chickened out of taking the second abortion pill. The bleeding I found her in was from complications with the first pill, but she never completed the procedure. She's still pregnant. I was floored. Lisa begged me to reconsider our breakup, saying maybe this baby was a sign we were meant to be together. I shut that down immediately. I told her that her lies had only gotten worse and that I wanted nothing to do with her or this baby that isn't mine. That's when Lisa dropped another bombshell. She's not 100% sure who the father is. Apparently, she had slept with me and the other crew member within days of each other around the time she likely conceived. She said she had assumed it was the other guys based on the timing, but now she's not certain. I feel like I'm losing my mind. The possibility that this could be my child has me reeling. I never wanted kids before marriage, but the idea that I might have a baby out there is messing with my head. Part of me hopes it's not mine so I can make a clean break. But another part wonders if I'd regret walking away from my own child. I told Lisa I want a paternity test as soon as possible. She agreed, but we're stuck on this ship for several more weeks. The waiting and uncertainty are agonizing. To complicate matters further, word has gotten around the ship about Lisa's pregnancy. Now everyone is speculating about the father and drama is brewing. The crew member Lisa was involved with is getting nervous, especially since his wife back home might find out. I've started spending most of my free time alone in my cabin just to avoid the stares and whispers. It feels like everyone is talking about me behind my back. Some people have tried to offer support or advice, but most just seem to be enjoying the drama. My work performance is suffering too. I'm distracted and making silly mistakes. Yesterday, I nearly caused an accident because I wasn't paying attention. My supervisor pulled me aside again and suggested I take some time off when we get back to shore. I'm worried about jeopardizing my career over all this drama. I'm also grappling with a lot of conflicting emotions. I'm still incredibly angry and hurt by Lisa's betrayal. But seeing her struggle with morning sickness and the stress of the situation sometimes stirs up the caring feelings I used to have for her. I have to keep reminding myself that she lied to me repeatedly and destroyed our relationship. The other crew member, let's call him Mike, has been acting strange around me. He keeps trying to talk to me in private, but I've been avoiding him. I'm afraid I might lose control if I have to face him. Part of me wants to report him to our superiors for having an affair with a coworker, but I know that would only make the situation worse. I've been thinking a lot about my future in this industry. I love my job and the sea has always been a huge part of my life, but now it all feels tainted. The thought of going on another long voyage after this, possibly with Lisa or Mike or any of the people who know about this mess, makes me feel sick. The next few weeks until we dock feel like an eternity. I don't know how I'm going to make it through without losing my sanity. I'm trying to take things one day at a time, but the uncertainty of the paternity situation and being trapped here with Lisa and all this gossip is taking a major toll. I'm not sure what my next steps should be. Part of me wants to just walk away from this whole mess as soon as we're back on land. But if there's a chance this is my child, don't I have some obligation? How do I balance protecting myself emotionally with potentially being there for my kid? And what about our house and other shared assets? Should I try to sell everything and make a clean break? Or should I wait until we know about the paternity? The thought of having to deal with all of this legal and financial stuff on top of the emotional turmoil is overwhelming. Any advice on how to cope for the rest of this trip or what to do once we're back on shore would be really appreciated. I feel like I'm drowning here and I don't know which way is up anymore. Update 2. It's been about a month since my last update, and I'm still reeling from everything that's happened. We finally docked last week, and things escalated quickly once we were back on land. The first thing I did was arrange for a paternity test. The waiting period for results was excruciating. I stayed with a friend, not wanting to go back to the house Lisa and I had shared. I threw myself into work, taking on extra shifts at the shipping company's land office to keep my mind occupied. Lisa kept calling and texting, asking to meet up and talk things through. I ignored most of her messages, only responding to say I'd talk to her after we got the paternity test results. Finally, after what felt like forever, I got the answer: I am not the father of Lisa's baby. I felt an overwhelming sense of relief, but also a strange sense of loss that I wasn't expecting. I had started to imagine what it would be like to be a father, despite the circumstances, and now that possibility was gone. I met up with Lisa to tell her the results in person. She cried and apologized again, saying she had hoped the baby was mine because she still loved me. I told her it was over for good and that I wanted to proceed with separating our assets and moving on with our lives. However, that relief was short-lived. The day after I met with Lisa, I received a call from a woman I didn't know. It turns out she was the wife of Mike, the crew member Lisa had been sleeping with. She had found out about the affair and the pregnancy and was livid. This woman, let's call her Sarah, had done some digging and discovered that her husband had a history of infidelity. She told me that he had gotten another woman pregnant 2 years ago and paid for her abortion to keep it quiet. Sarah was done with his lies and had filed for divorce. But here's where things get even more twisted. Sarah revealed that Mike had a vasectomy 3 years ago. He couldn't possibly be the father of Lisa's baby. I was shocked. If I wasn't the father, and Mike couldn't be the father, then who was? I confronted Lisa with this information, and she completely broke down. Through her tears, she finally told me the full truth. The father of her baby is actually our ship's captain. They had a brief fling at the start of our trip, but he immediately regretted it and told Lisa it could never happen again. Lisa panicked when she found out she was pregnant. She knew how much trouble the captain would be in if anyone found out he had slept with a subordinate. So she concocted this whole story about Mike to cover for the captain. I was stunned. The level of deception was almost impressive in its complexity. Lisa begged for my forgiveness, saying she never meant for things to spiral so out of control. But I was beyond done. I told her I never wanted to see or speak to her again. Word of the captain's involvement spread like wildfire through the crew. He's now facing an investigation and will likely lose his job. The shipping company is in damage control mode, trying to keep the scandal from going public. As for me, I'm left picking up the pieces of my life. Lisa and I had bought a house together, which I now have to figure out how to deal with. Our shared friend group is divided, with people taking sides in the drama. My career might even be impacted by association with this whole mess. I'm angry, hurt, and exhausted. Every time I think I've gotten to the bottom of Lisa's lies, another layer is revealed. I don't know how I'll ever be able to trust someone again after this. The shipping company has offered me some time off to deal with everything. I'm considering taking an extended leave of absence or even quitting altogether. The thought of going back to sea, where everyone knows about this scandal, is unbearable. I've been in touch with a lawyer to figure out how to handle the house and other shared assets. It's a complicated mess, especially since Lisa is now pregnant and unemployed. She was fired when the full story came out. I'm also grappling with whether I should tell the captain's wife about what happened. Part of me feels like she deserves to know, but another part doesn't want to get involved any further in this mess. Sarah, Mike's soon-to-be ex-wife, has reached out to me a few times. We've bonded over our shared experience of being betrayed and lied to. It's been helpful to talk to someone who understands what I'm going through, even if our situations aren't exactly the same. I'm trying to focus on moving forward, but it's hard not to dwell on everything I've lost. The future I thought I had with Lisa, the career I loved, the friendships with other crew members, it all feels tainted now. I've started seeing a therapist to help me process everything. It's early days, but I think it's helping. At the very least, it gives me a safe space to vent all my frustrations and anger. The shipping company has been surprisingly supportive through all of this. They've offered me a position in their land-based logistics department if I want to take a break from sea life. I'm seriously considering it. The thought of going back to sea right now makes me feel sick. As for Lisa, I've heard through mutual friends that she's moved in with her parents. She's keeping the baby and plans to raise it as a single mother. The captain, I've been told, wants nothing to do with the child. He's fighting the paternity claim, trying to save what's left of his career and marriage. I'm still angry at Lisa, but I also feel a strange sense of pity for her. She's lost everything: her job, her relationship, her reputation, and now she's facing single parenthood. It doesn't excuse what she did, but I can't help but think about how different things might have been if she had just been honest from the beginning. I know I need to make some decisions soon about the house and my career, but right now I'm taking things one day at a time. I'm focusing on healing and figuring out who I'm outside of my relationship with Lisa and my life at sea. If nothing else, I hope my story can serve as a cautionary tale to others. Trust your instincts, don't ignore red flags, and remember that sometimes the truth is more unbelievable than fiction. Update 3. It's been half a year since my last update, and I'm finally starting to feel like I'm getting my life back on track. The dust has settled from all the drama, and I've had time to process everything that happened. After much deliberation, I decided to accept the land-based position offered by the shipping company. It was a tough decision to leave life at sea behind, but I knew I needed a fresh start away from all the painful memories. The transition hasn't been easy. I miss the ocean and the sense of adventure that came with my old job. But I'm slowly adjusting to life on land and finding new challenges in my work. I sold the house Lisa and I had bought together. Dealing with all the paperwork and seeing her again to sign documents was difficult, but I'm glad it's over. I've moved to a new city for my job and am slowly building a new life for myself. I've rented a small apartment near a park, and I'm enjoying the stability of coming home to the same place every night. As for Lisa, I've heard she had the baby, a little girl. She reached out to me once to apologize again and let me know she was doing well. She's still living with her parents and has found a job at a local business. I appreciated her reaching out, but I made it clear I wasn't interested in maintaining any kind of relationship. It's better for both of us to move on completely. The fallout from the scandal on the ship was significant. The captain lost his job and his maritime license. He's fighting a legal battle with Lisa over child support. The shipping company implemented stricter fraternization policies as a result of the whole mess. I heard through former coworkers that morale on board took a big hit for a while, but things are slowly getting back to normal. One unexpected outcome of this whole ordeal is that I've stayed in touch with Sarah, Mike's ex-wife. What started as commiserating over our exes has grown into a genuine friendship. We meet up for coffee every few weeks to catch up. It's been helpful to have someone who truly understands what I went through. We're both focused on healing and moving forward with our lives rather than dwelling on the past. I've also reconnected with some old friends from before my time at sea. It's been nice to rebuild those relationships and remember who I was before all of this happened. I've taken up some new hobbies too. I've joined a local hiking group and started taking guitar lessons. It feels good to have interests and social connections that have nothing to do with my old life or the maritime industry. I've started dipping my toes back into the dating pool recently. It's been challenging to open myself up again after everything that happened with Lisa. I find myself being overly cautious and suspicious sometimes. But I'm trying to approach new relationships with cautious optimism rather than cynicism. I've been on a few dates, nothing serious yet, but it feels like progress. My therapist has been a huge help throughout all of this. She's helped me work through my trust issues and anger, and given me tools to cope with anxiety and depression. I'm not fixed by any means, but I feel like I'm on a healthier path now. Financially, things have been tight since I had to split assets with Lisa and sell the house, but I'm slowly rebuilding my savings. My new job pays well, and not being away at sea means I have fewer expenses. I'm even starting to think about buying a small place of my own in the future. Looking back on everything that happened, it still feels surreal sometimes. I never imagined my life would take such a dramatic turn. There are still days when I get angry thinking about Lisa's betrayal or sad about the future we'd planned together. But those days are becoming less frequent. I'm learning to trust my instincts more and to value honesty above all else in my relationships. I'm also trying to be more open with my friends and family about my feelings and experiences. This whole ordeal taught me the importance of having a strong support system. Thank you to everyone who followed my story and offered support along the way. Your kind words and advice helped more than you know during some of my darkest moments. I'm looking forward to the next chapter of my life, whatever it may bring.